We are currently on our way to do something that people have wanted us to do for a while now, but we are going on a ghost tour here in Savannah, being the most haunted city. We are doing the Ghost and Gravestone Tour, something like that, but it's associated with the old trolleys, and starts at 8:40, goes about an hour and a half. Gonna see probably some freaky stuff, but we're gonna film it.
I hope not.
I hope not too. Hope it's a bust. But we're gonna film it. Let's go check it out. You can see this says Ghost and Gravestones, the Old Town Trolley Tour. That's what we'll be going on. Ours starts at 8:40. They said to get there by 8:25, and it is a bit of a walk down River Street, but on up here, a couple of landmarks that we've done videos at, and that is the Savannah's Candy Kitchen, and then on past that, Boar's Head Tavern and Grill and Tavern. So if we keep walking past those two, you'll find the trolley tours. And here you have it, Old Town Trolley Tours. This is where you need to go for the Ghost and Gravestone Tours. They said meet right here and check in, and this is where we will check in. It is currently 8:25, and they said that's when we could check in for our ghost tour tonight. So we're gonna check in. Here's some information about it, and reservations are required. It appears we are getting on this one here. Looks like everybody's still alive, so you show the driver your ticket, and then you hop on in.
That's us.
Oh, 8:40.
If you haven't already, you need to check in with the front desk. They'll give you stickers like these ones right here.
Gratuities gravely appreciated. I love that. That's awesome. So that might be the price there, $47 per adult. But since we had already bought a trolley hop on off ticket, they gave us $4 off per person. Look at the ceiling, how it's all themed. Hello.
My name is Madeline Ravenhurst. I'm your host tonight, your ghost host. And yes, unfortunately, the jokes are all going to be that bad. So we do have two stops. The first one is going to be the Andrew Lowe House. It's where Juliet Gordon Lowe founded the Girl Scouts who passed away in 1927. Not only will we get to see the room that she passed away in, but we will also get to walk the home's halls in the evening hours. Our second stop tonight is going to be the Perkins and Sonship Chandlery. If you don't know what Chandlery is, it's kind of like a general store for sailors. It's where they would have bought anything they would have needed. We'll be going inside there as well. We'll have a few laughs and maybe a few frights. We'll see when we get there. Woohoo! Now, as we begin our tour of the most haunted city in America, I'd like to tell you all about our most notorious serial killer. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
I don't think you are. Ladies and gentlemen, the Savannah River here on our left. We lose no less than 2 people a year to that monster from either falling or jumping into its depths. Well, if you know anything about sailors, especially drunken sailors, they're a rather rowdy bunch. In these businesses, they had to get rowdy back. It made River Street a rather dangerous place to be at night. And honestly, not much has changed. We'll be heading up a ramp, but as we do so, I want you all to do me a favor and look down. Congratulations, you all looked at your shoes. I'm actually referring to the subterranean tunnels underneath the city, those infamous of which comes out under the Pirate's House. Now, the Pirate's House was built in 1753 and is considered one of the oldest buildings in Georgia. It's a place for sailors to come in, have a few drinks, and tell tall tales of glory on the high seas. Unless you were a French or English privateer, in which case you were usually looking for a few extra deckhands. Now, the way it worked is they'd come into these kinds of places, wander about the tables, ask a couple gentlemen if they'd like to join their crews. But you usually got them the grand old answer of no, because it was very dangerous out at sea, wasn't very lucrative, and most of them wanted to come home to their families. Well, that just wouldn't do, so they would then turn around, swagger up to the bar, slip a little coin to the bartender, who would then slip a little something extra into an unsuspecting patron's beer. That poor soul would then wake up the next day on a ship bound for China in a shiny new career. We call this being Shanghai. It's actually how we got most of our drivers.
What can I say? The grilled cheese there is just really good. I had to go.
second. Can anybody tell me what a pirate's favorite socks are? Argyle. What's a pirate's favorite letter? You think it'd be R, but I think it'd be the C. Or maybe the one in his pocket from his dead mother.
Oh.
I told you the jokes were going to be that bad. Top floor windows, they're going to be important in just a little bit. Now, who here has heard of Ed and Lorraine Warren? No one? We got a couple of people. For those of you who haven't, that's A-OK. Ed and Lorraine Warren are demonologists who are highly held in the paranormal community. They were the first ones to investigate the Amityville horror case, and they inspired movies you might know, like Annabelle and The Conjuring. Well, not too long ago, they actually got to investigate the usually forbidden upper floor of the Pirate's House. And to help with their investigation, they called a local medium. Well, unfortunately, on the big night, the medium found himself running late. So he called up a friend to get him there as fast as possible. He gets to the Pirate's House, he gets out of that car, he looks up, he sees three distinct figures staring down at him. Now, he thinks that the Warrens and the Pirate's House manager, having started without him, so he rushes inside, only to find the Warrens waiting patiently in the front room. It turns out the Pirate's House manager was also running late, and he was the only one with the key to the upstairs, which begs the question, who was up there that night? As you can see, this is the Pirate's House here on our left side, and those are our windows that I'm mentioning. Now, I have not seen it myself, but I have actually heard rumor that sometimes people will actually capture shadowy figures and faces in those upper floor windows. It's hard for ambitious spirits to make themselves known. Some do so in a more violent manner. We all know the kind. They rattle your doors and your windows. They throw your fine china. They're very, very rude. Others, however, do so in a more playful way. This is the case of Miss Anna of the 1790 Inn and Restaurant. Now, Miss Anna, her story's fallen in myth more than most. The one version stating that she was a bride brought over to Savannah for an arranged marriage. Another states that actually she was a barmaid who fell in love with a sailor, only out for a good time. No matter how you swing her tale, it always ends the same way. With Miss Anna throwing herself out of the window of room 204. Now, we'll be coming up on the 1790 in just a little bit. It's going to be a mint-green building with dark shutters. Tell me, guys, do me a favor, count the upper floor windows. I could tell something strange has been appearing in the fifth one. For those of you who might be here for a while and who are definitely interested in the more ghostly side of things, we do have a new attraction open where it's an actual sort of ghost hunting experience. You go inside a haunted building, we give you the tools to find the ghosts and interact with them. I will go ahead and forewarn you, it's on the pricier side, it is about $100. Here on the right is the Davenport House. Now, they do their own tours. They're heading more to the historical and less the spooky, but they do have their own ghosts. And here on our right side now, this is the Kehoe House. If you'd like to know more about her dark secrets, might I suggest our sister tour, Ghost Town Trolley. If this is our PG-13 tour, that is our rated R tour. They get more gruesome with their stories. Now let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Would you look at that? Is Miss Anna herself come to say hello? Please do wait if she does get lonely. Goodness, she is a doll. In 2015, around Christmas time, we had a pair of ladies that were staying in room of 204, and they decided that before they unpacked, they were going to have dinner. So they go downstairs, they have a wonderful meal, only to come back up and find that not only is their luggage open, it had been rummaged through. The key articles of clothing were missing. Well, they tore that room apart looking for their clothing, and when they could not find it, they stormed down and demanded to see a manager. As they're waiting on the manager, one of the ladies spotted something out of the corner of her eye. The Christmas tree down the hall, upon which their under things have been delicately placed on the branches like ornaments. I don't know about you guys, I would have left the state and never come back. This is the case of 210 East State Street, a yellow brick apartment building with a green awning that was built in 1924. So there was a couple who lived here who loved everything about their apartment save one thing. Every few days, a used teacup would show up on their kitchen table. Here on our right side, this lovely yellow brick building that is 210 East State Street. Now that doesn't sound odd, but neither of them drink tea. They figured some kind of elaborate prank from their neighbors, so they go and they ask around and they get nothing. They figure, okay, somebody's just not fast after the crime. So they changed the locks. Still nothing. The teacup still keeps appearing. Eventually they get so frustrated and fed up they call on the previous tenant, a man named Rodney. Now Rodney said he too loved everything about his apartment, but had to move away when his girlfriend would no longer step anywhere near the premises. You see, she'd gotten up one morning to go make breakfast, only to find Rodney's mother, whom she never met before, sitting at the kitchen table drinking tea. The two exchanged pleasantries before she went back and scolded Rodney for not telling her his mother was here. To which Rodney replied, "My mother's been dead for 2 years." You see, she had visited shortly after Rodney had moved in, where she unfortunately found a stroke at the kitchen table, face first to her customary cup of Earl Grey tea. Look out onto that sea of headstones and know that they are not just burial markers, but stories in themselves. Some of which have gotten a little strange over the years due to vandalization and disrepair. One such one is that of Savannah Gray, died by the little god, struck down by lightning July 26, 1812. SSR Tube found that she lived to be 121 years and 1,124 days. Now, I'm mathematically illiterate, but that does not add up. Or that of Captain Jonathan Cooper, who died at the ripe old age of 1700. The Andrew Lowe House was completed in 1849 by New York architect John Norris for Andrew Lowe, Savannah. His son would go on to marry Juliet Gordon Lowe, the founder of the Girl Scouts. And when she passed away in 1927, the home would be sold to the National Society of the Colonial Dames of America in the state of Georgia by the trustees of her estate.
So far, this is the PG tour, so not as scary as the R tour. So in order to do our first spooky tour, gotta keep it PG.
Before the home could even be completed, his first wife, Sarah Cecil Hunter, would pass away along with their 4-year-old son. This group, you'll be following that beautiful young lady inside to meet the head caretaker. Please follow her with blind faith and trust.
So we're with this side. We're gonna have this lady take us in here. Tell you what, that was kind of the scariest part of the tour. We're all listening to this lady, and then behind us, she's standing there. Kind of freaked me out a little bit. Please enter here. Man, she's going for it. Reminds me of the old haunted mansion. There's those creepy dolls in there.
Welcome everyone to the Andrew Lowe House. I'm the caretaker this evening. My name is Ruby Bates. Hello. But let me tell you the scariest part about this floor. 5 bedrooms, only 1 bathroom. Now actually it's probably the nursery. We call it the creepy doll room. Respectfully.
Yeah.
Respectfully though. Oh. But I'll be telling you about these 2 rooms here. Let's start with this one. This, named after Mary Lowe and Juliet Gordon Lowe. The women of the home tended to be drawn to this room. It's also sadly a place where several of them died. Mary Lowe died in this room in 1863. Juliet Gordon Lowe, the founder of the Girl Scouts, died in that room in 1927. Not every day though, only on certain days will it happen. One day when it happened was in 1979. A storm bordering on a hurricane ripped through Savannah. After the storm had passed, 2 society women came to the home to assess the damages and open up the shutters. But then they heard crying coming from inside the home. They thought someone had come in to weather the storm. They came in, the crying grew louder. Up the stairs even louder. They went to that bedroom. The crying turned into wailing. They looked in. No one was in the room. But the sobbing continued until both women were so overcome with grief and sorrow. They fled the home in order to get away from the feeling of it. Let me direct your attention to this room now. This is the Stiles room, named after Eliza Stiles, who was Mary's mother. After Mary passed in 1865, only 2 years after his daughter passed in that room. But we think he's still in here because we used to have a housekeeper who would clean. She said she would often look in that room, would see a man sitting in the rocking chair, rocking away. She got so used to seeing him, she started to greet him. Hello, Mr. Lowe. Isn't it a good day to be alive?
Do you see the rocking chair moving? Now we're heading back downstairs.
Welcome to the library, or the study of the home. Behind me is a dining room, but between these two rooms is what's called the butler's pantry. A staircase that goes up to the bedroom floor, and a staircase that goes down to what once was a kitchen. This is the location of a paranormal incident. You see, years ago, the former director of the home was here early one morning with a fellow staff member. They heard the side door open, two women chatting, heard their footsteps come up the stairs from the basement. Now they were expecting two society women, but this was way earlier than they should have arrived. The director wanted to greet them, followed them up the stairs, heard them talking in here. They weren't in here. Heard them over there. They weren't over there either. It was basically like a Scooby-Doo chase around the house. He could not catch up to where they were. He followed them all the way upstairs to the bedroom above us, a low bedroom, where the voices vanished. He looked in the room, no one was in there. He came back downstairs. The staff member he was with said no one had come in or out of the building all morning. After dinner, the women would go across the hall to the parlor, where they would sip tea and talk, while the men stayed behind to smoke cigars. To this day, people say they randomly smell cigar smoke in the home, even though smoking has been prohibited since the 1950s. We call that a residual haunt. It just keeps on happening. The room beneath us is a large office with a big desk. One day, two accountants were working. Yay, taxes. As they're working, they saw movement in the corner of the room. They turned to see papers fly into the air, do a little dance, and land in the center of the room. They then did what accountants do best. They booked it. No, it really did happen. Both women accounted for it.
Back outside. And then right up here is the trolley. So far, this is actually it is PG. I mean, it's not really that scary, but it's interesting to kind of go back in the stuff at nighttime. There are a lot of tours going on right now at night, and I'm sure there are some pretty freaky ones, like she mentioned, where you could go and try to catch a ghost, which, not gonna do that.
Now, across Lafayette Square is another Savannah icon, the Hamilton Turner Inn. This was completed in 1873 for Samuel Hamilton, informally known as the Lord of Lafayette Square. He was a blockade runner during the Civil War, and a rich man even before that. So much so that he had this beautiful home built and then proceeded to throw lavish parties for only the elite of the elite. Now when you have a home as beautiful as the one coming up here on our right with all the lights on, well, and you have such high profile guests at that, you want to make sure everything is protected. So he hired an off-duty police officer to stand sentry on the roof with a rifle. This worked really, really well until it really, really didn't. Because one night they had a particularly raucous party, after which the sentry failed to come down for breakfast the next day. They figured he'd just fallen asleep on the job, so they sent a butler to go get him. The butler walked up that narrow staircase, opened up the roof hatch, and found it eerily quiet. He got up onto that limestone roof and he looked around before a scream caught in his throat, because he found the sentry lying lifeless over the railing, a pool of crimson blood beneath him. He had been shot in the back of the head during the night, and the sound of the night's festivities had covered the sound of his murder. And I think it's because of how gruesome this murder was and the fact that it was never solved that he's still here today. For example, a neighbor of the inn was walking to her car one night when she noticed movement on the roof. She thought that was rather odd, so she looked up and saw, silhouetted by the full moon, a man with a rifle at his shoulder. She was mesmerized by this man, who would not look away until a cloud moved in front of the moon. When the cloud moved away again, the man was gone. Those are family crypts. The way they work is that you would go down inside them, and there would be shelves upon the walls, upon which are there'd be shelves on the walls, upon which are metal slabs, upon which are your deceased family members, usually with an urn in the middle. The idea is that if you had to insure a new family member but the crypt was full, they would take the oldest and hopefully most decayed relative, scrape them off into the urn, put the new person on the slab, and put the slab back on the shelf. They say a family that stays together decays together. So here on our right side, this lovely yellow building with the 5 statues, that is the Telfair Mansion, though we know it now as the Telfair Academy of Arts and Sciences. For this property, the rules were there was to be no smoking, no drinking, and no public exhibitions held on the property. If any of these rules were broken, the property would be revoked. Now they were held for a good long while, until they When a public art exhibition was held that served champagne, breaking 2 of Miss Mary's rules in one fell swoop. Let me just put it this way. When the champagne hit the glass, part of the roof hit the floor. Now we are heading to our second stop of the night, Perkins and Sons ship Chandlery. As I mentioned before, Chandlery's were kind of like general stores for sailors. It's where they would have bought anything they would have needed, like twine, turpentine, ropes, resins, literally anything you can think of that a sailor would need. Imagine, in the 18th and 19th century, ship after ship coming in and out of port. Back then, the shipping industry was Savannah's lifeblood. And to an extent, it still is, just not in the same way. If you'll remember, I mentioned a lot of businesses here on River Street used to be Chandleries themselves. They're considered so important that they were the cultural and dynamic centers of the port. If you needed to know anything about anyone or anything, you would go to your local Chandlery. As such, Perkins and Sons is a fine example of a once-proud profession, though she has seen better days. I see some of you making some faces. What do you mean one size fits all? Rarely does one size fit all, one size fit all. Well, it is simple. If you didn't fit, they'd make you fit. If you were too tall, they'd take a meat cleaver and start hacking at your ankles and work their way up until you were short enough to fit. If you're too wide like I am, that's A-okay. They'd shave a little bit off the sides, open up the back, and break your shoulders by folding them backwards so that you fit nice and snug.
Here it is. Oh, nice and dark in here. Ooh, this is a little bit more freaky in here. Yeah, it's darker in here, that's for sure.
All right, my lovelies, if I can turn your attention to this item right here in the corner. That is my one-size-fits-all cast iron Victorian coffin. Probably a lot smaller than you guys thought it would be.
It's dark.
If the cat goes up and down River Street, you can leave the door open too long. Well, she door's gonna shut. Get down. I say.
Who are you people? And what are y'all doing inside my warehouse? Do y'all see a sign front that said private keep out stout? Y'all are a pitiful looking group, especially all over your ilk. And some of y'all here don't even like work a day in your life, especially you right there. I see your eyes. You look ashamed of that now. But unlike that man over there, that man's name is Henry Willig. You wouldn't want to be in his shoes. He's been dead for all these years, but he's still just trudging off to work. Can't say I blame him, because all but he ever loved was washed away into the Savannah River. You see, his first love, she would actually end up dying in the Savannah River. He would end up later marrying his first wife, dying of the devil's disease, yellow fever, and his second wife just up and died of influenza. If you ask me, it just sounds like everyone's dying to get away from him. He would get very sad about this and go off to work in his shipyard. His shipyard built many ships over the years, such ships that are like the Confederate ironclad CSS Georgia, as well as other vessels throughout the years. But after the war between the states is over, he was training his boys to take over the business, especially his first son, Alexander. Everything is fine. 1886, Alexander is walking and off to work. He would see some men fit up a load on top of a crane. Well, he wants to help him. He's taking over the business one day. He's learning the ropes, right? Starts to climb up that crane right there. Starts to fiddle with the ropes and the pulley. Oh, caught and tangled together. But then the load would shift. Henry's watching below as his son is dangling up there for dear life. And just when everyone thought he's about to get back down to safety, he nearly did. But he crushed every single bone in his body and shattering his skull. Now, you see, Henry also... Excuse me here, folks. Excuse me here. Hey! Why out there, you bunch of drunken fools? What is it about my mother? My mother was a saint. You're hired. You can watch the video. Thank you. That there is the sound of the American Revolution and the sound of the Sons of Liberty, patriots getting tired of that so-called taxation about representation, so they decide to protest the king. Protests begin in the streets, the squares, and the shipyards. But there's this fool that have a hazy plan forming in his mind. Him and his cronies are gonna go protest the king. How original. Get a rickety old cart, drag the thing down to River Street, inspect this cart to make sure it looks fine for their own plan. While another one of those cronies procure a makeshift mask of King George in effigy. And they work very hard at this mask, so I want y'all to judge it for yourself right now.
Oh, gosh.
think they were very artistic, don't you think? He would struggle there, take off that mask behind his head, it was caught in the noose, and as he struggled in there, he would start to slip off that stone until he falls, and he would slowly strangle to death. Ah! I saw you jump right there, that's pitiful. Now, I don't know how y'all got in here, and I really don't care, but I got work to get back to. Y'all can stay if you want, you might learn something. Well, I take that back, but still, let me get back to work here. Never mind. Now you have to stay here. Y'all hear that? It means there's a storm brewing out there. You can see it out the window. It is not safe beyond River Street on a night like this if a storm brewing. But don't worry, this old warehouse has survived much worse. And so y'all be safe in here. At least from the storm. How about write this out our story? Yeah. I sounded excited and pitiful all at the same time. I'm telling you what, anyways, whether you like it or not, so might as well seem a little excited. But I'll start it here with a question. Has anyone here ever slept the sleep of the dead? Yes? No? Well, you may know the feeling. Why not like this? You're lying there on your back. You can't move a muscle, not even your arm, and it feels like you're not to go to sleep. You finally do go to sleep, and you wake up the next morning and your life's been drained upon you, because it has. You have been ridden by the hag. And the hag's a special kind of witch. Said she can take the shape of a shadow, or even the shape of a cat. But go and get you folks have a special name for her. They call her a boo hag. Well, Clay throws out some old summer superstition. He didn't think Melinda was a hag or anything. Really didn't like her either. She kind of looked at one like one, but still. Tie a silver nickel around your wife's ankle, and then sleep with the Holy Bible beneath your pillow. Well, Clay ignores all of us but the last one. He want to keep her away? No. He wants to catch her, so he'd start to sleep with an axe handle by his bed. Well, not like this. He's lying there awake, looking around. He sees his wife let off a soft moan as she's not stirred at all, and it looks like the shadows are moving. He slowly gets out of bed, grabbing that axe handle, goes right to where the shadows were in the corner of the room, and he gets ready, and he's a win! And there's a cat. This cat goes running around the entire house, keeps on running around until it jumps out the window, and he opens the door and gets outside into the driving rain! I think there's a leak in here. He looks down now, sees paw prints turn to footprints, so he goes to a nearby alleyway, and there she is, the witch! Melinda. They're clutching her ribs, screaming, "Don't you hit me anymore! Don't you hit me, don't leave me alone!" Well, Clay's the axe on her right at the ready. He's about to hit her. But then he looks down and takes pity on her. Because you know what he sees? He sees you wearing nothing more than what the good Lord brought her to her birth. That means she was naked. And the naked boo hack is ugly. Trust me, I think Max mother-in-law's one. Now, like I said, he took pity on her and he decided to leave her alone. And she decided to do everyone a favor and leave him alone as well. And everyone starts to have a good night's sleep. Boo-hoo. I hate a happy ending. It just ruins a perfectly good story. Now, y'all might want to leave before y'all become a not so happy ending. Y'all really can't listen about as well as you can read, so I'll tell y'all here with 3 magic words. Get! That's 2 words, by the way. 2, steppin'. Now you can get out!
That's good. I come back, you're staring off into space. It's a little concerned, I'm not gonna lie. Well, I tried to capture that cat, and I failed miserably. So guess what we get to do?
That was actually a little freaky. Yeah, that's a cool piano. All right, we are getting back on the Ghost and Gravestone Tour.
Now tonight, my friends, we've gotten to go through the darker side of Savannah's historic district. We've gotten to walk the halls of a haunted home and peer into the shadows of battlefields long forgotten. Savannah's history provides us a rather unique relationship with our dead, one that swings so often between partial denial and open celebration. Remember these spirits of people who love this city, people whose tragedy and death touches our hearts, people whose memories echo on long after they're gone. I hope you enjoyed your time with me tonight, and that you enjoyed my ghostly tales, and that you have some of your own to take driver Cass for safely getting us around the city tonight. Thank you, Cass.
All right, and there we have it. So we just got off the ghost tours, and I think we're gonna call it a day and head back to the room. As far as the actual length of the tour, started at 8:40 and we were done at 10:04. That was our Ghost and Gravestone tour with the old trolleys. I have to say it was very kid friendly. The last room was a little freaky, but if you're a big ghost person, I probably wouldn't go for the PG one. I would go for maybe the rated R one. If you're kind of a chicken, go for the PG one because you do learn some more and you get to go see some of the houses and locations. But it was fun. That was our first ghost tour, so yay, we did it. And we're alive. With that being said, that does it for tonight. Thanks for watching.